Welcome to MarcusG.tv. I'm Chef Marcus Guiliano.
And Jamie.
I'm a chef on a mission.
And I'm here to help you with that mission.
Today's mission is kids.
Kids that talk back.
Kids that talk back. We found an article here that somebody shared on Facebook. It's from thinkinghumanity.com, September 2016, and the title is Kids Who Talk Back Become More Successful Adults. And I think we all have kids who talk back to us as parents.
Right.
So what does this article say?
Talking back. Most parents hate it, which is, you hate it. I hate it too. It pushes buttons and drives one crazy. This is an issue I have with both of my children, and this is the author talking. My son is 8 and likes to negotiate everything from punishments to when he can stop playing Legos and go to bed. My daughter, who is 6, does what she wants to do, and trying to stop her in the middle of her imagination-induced play is near impossible. When I tell them it's time to do something, I hear why or not right now. This is enough to make any parent lose their cool, and responding calmly can be very difficult. However, what if pushing or talking back is actually good for childhood development? It is. The experts agree. This behavior is actually developmentally healthy for kids. Clinical psychologist Kelly M. Flanagan explains that the inability to say no, the inability to set personal boundaries is one of the most common, insidious causes of human suffering. Psychologist Joseph P. Allen, who headed a study for the University of Virginia, says, "We tell parents to think of those arguments not as a nuisance, but as a critical training ground." And that's from Yahoo.
Now, I want to state that there's a difference when kids talk back. If your kid's in the grocery store throwing a fit because you're not buying him Skittles, and just totally irrational and illogical and just like making a major scene, that's because you give in to your kid.
Right.
That's just because you say, okay, yeah, whatever, here, have some sugar. And that's because you've taught your kids that sugar is just okay to have and certain things are okay to have, and they know they can get away with it. But you see a lot of kids that'll actually start to negotiate. Like, how about if that kid were to say, well, if I have Skittles today, I'll eat 2 bananas tomorrow. I think there's a difference between how kids talk back.
Throwing a fit in a grocery store is not exactly talking back. It's just getting attention for what they want.
So parents, don't think because your kid's throwing a fit for Skittles or ice cream that you have some genius on your hand here.
Right.
If your 4-year-old says to you, "Can I have ice cream?" and if you say no, and then the kid says, "Well, if you teach me how to make it, can I have it?" Then I'd say, okay, now the kid's got some oomph. If he wants to actually learn how to make ice cream so he can eat the ice cream he's making.
Right.
So there's a difference in throwing fits here, parents. So don't think you have some genius kid that's so spoiled brat walking around the grocery store or ice cream stand.
Kids push back when they are trying to gain some control over their lives. Negotiating is a key skill adults need to possess, and children are just practicing with their parents. It is better they practice with the parents than blindly follow an adult or peer into trouble, right? So You'd rather them do it with you than with somebody else. At least children are respecting other people and only talking back with you.
Here's what I find with our kids. I find that our kids will negotiate, talk back to us, really state their point, carry on and on and on. And then all of a sudden, like every teacher they've ever had, people in the community are like, "Oh, your kids are so polite. They're so polite. They don't talk back. They're this and that." I'm like,
Which kid are you talking
You sure
to?
you got the right
and
kids?
I think most of you parents out there can probably relate to that type of scenario. Most kids behave in public, right? Most. And don't talk back.
They behave differently at home.
Behave differently at home than they do.
Yeah. So I actually want to instill in my kids to go to school and question what they're learning. That's what I want to instill. Just because a teacher's standing up in front of you and telling you that we know the world is round, but there's other things that can be very controversial, like they teach this whole chapter on how you need milk for your body. Well, that's been disproven time and time again. So I want my kids to stand up and say, you know what? Why are we learning about this?
Right.
Why don't you teach us what substitutes we can have for milk? Because 2/3 of the population in the world is lactose intolerant. So what do those people do? And we're still teaching to drink milk. Where did this education system come from? Who funded this? I want my kids to be able to say that and question the authority, but being in a politeful way and learning how to debate things and ask real questions. Because most kids just go to school and you have these pure kid geniuses, right? These kids that are so smart, these valedictorians and these high averages, and they can't think for themselves. They only know what's been taught to them in the book. And if it's not in the book, it must not be true. I'm like, you're that smart, but you're not that smart to question something that just seems like so irrational to be taught to begin with.
Right.
Our kids are vegetarians, and they teach in school, you have to eat meat, you have to eat meat, you have to eat meat. Well, no, you don't have to eat meat. Teach me how to be a responsible vegetarian.
Right.
Teach me how to eat right, as opposed to saying, meat's an important part. If you don't get your meat, you're not getting all your amino acids. But there's that valedictorian saying, I'm going to eat my steak because teacher said I got to eat my steak, and not question anything else.
It's like when they take tests in school, right? The test is what they've been taught rather than what they really feel.
We have somebody who works here, and she goes, I can't work certain days because I have a tutor. I'm really not smart in school. I'm not that smart. And I said, that's BS. You're smart. She goes, I am. Like, of course you're smart. I've seen you work here. You've been working here for 2-3 months. You're very smart. You picked up work very quickly. You do a great job at it. I said, what you mean to say is that the way the school is teaching you is not your style. It's not that you're stupid. It's not that you're not smart. Just the way you're sitting in that classroom with that teacher and engaging isn't working for you. What you're doing here at work, it's hands-on. You're fantastic. You're very smart. You couldn't do what you're doing if you weren't smart. But these kids are told that you need a tutor, you're not smart,
you have to have a certain average.
You have to have a certain average.
You have to get a certain test score.
I wish a kid would turn around and say, I wish you taught me better.
Right.
I wish you were a better teacher. I wish the system was set up so somebody like me could actually learn.
So each kid can learn how they need to be taught.
Exactly. So, how they push back.
Focus on how they push back. We all want our children to be able to stand up to peer pressure and decide the route that is best for them. However, teaching respect is key. The truth is, it's not whether they push back that really speaks to your authority. They're kids. They're going to push back. That's their job.
Mm-hmm.
Your authority lies in how they push back and in how you respond to them. And it's funny because our daughter, we just went through this, we're going through something right now with her where she's asking for something that I'm saying no to. And I actually decided I wasn't going to get loud, and I was just going to stay calm and react a little bit calmer than I would normally have reacted.
And you gave her a reason why you made your decision.
Right.
You can't do this because this will affect this, and this. And you have these responsibilities.
And she goes, well, I still don't understand. Well, you need to understand the responsibilities of what you have. So I tried to be a little bit calmer in the situation. So I'm trying different tactics with her as well, which I don't have to use this very often with her, luckily.
Yeah, but when she's determined for something,
when she's determined, she's determined.
Oh my gosh, it's just like, whoa.
It's like everybody else in our family.
Some of us.
Are you teaching your child to challenge you with respect? Are you setting expectations and positive examples for appropriate communication? Do you help them understand and take responsibility for the consequences of their actions? Your children's ability to negotiate risky or adverse circumstances improves when you teach them to exercise control with self-awareness, respect, grace, and calm.
So, it's all about teaching your kids to properly negotiate, to be respectful, and in my opinion, to challenge what they're being taught. Friendly challenge. Why are we learning this? Why is this? Why is that? And it's not only in school. It's when you go to the doctor. It's when you go anywhere.
Right.
I'm curious, why are we doing it this way? And I always tell people, for me, I ask a lot of questions when we go to the doctor.
Yes.
And I really sometimes be like, oh, I don't really agree with that. And you can say, well, I don't agree with that, and here's why. And teach your kids to justify why. With their cases. It's like this whole Colin Kaepernick thing with him protesting the national anthem. He has a right to protest, We don't have to agree with him. But as an American, you have a right to protest whatever you want. And if you're going to say that's not right, you're taking somebody's right away to protest. You have to teach your kids how to stand up and say, ask them, well, why do we stand do the national anthem? What does it really mean?
And why don't you want to do it? Right?
Right. And what does this really mean? Tell me what this really means. Tell me what I'm doing. But people just go through the motions of everything. So everybody's been through their motions their whole life of saying the national anthem, and all of a sudden Colin Kaepernick stands up and says, or sits down and goes, I'm not doing it. And everybody's like backlashing at him. None of these people have been taught to think for themselves. Well, why actually is? Let's hear his story. And my opinion is, the government needs to earn our respect. We shouldn't be forced into respecting the government, right? And the same thing with teachers. Teachers need to earn the respect of the student. Just because the teacher's the authority figure standing in front of the classroom doesn't mean they need to get respect. Be friendly, be polite, but at the end of the day, say, you know what? I really don't like what that teacher's teaching. And if I had a chance to take another class with that teacher, I wouldn't.
Right.
Totally wouldn't stand and pay for another class or get another classroom with that teacher because I don't respect his teaching style, his ethics, his personality, or whatever it is. And you have that right to do that. And teach your kids, you have rights. We all have rights. We have questions. We can answer questions.
Absolutely.
Answer questions. So, I'm Chef Marcus Guiliano.
And Jamie.
Thanks for watching. If you like our videos, please hit like, subscribe.
And pass it on.